Welcome to the Property Mindset podcast, where I'm Emma Howitt, mentor, investor, and your guide to building wealth, freedom, and personal transformation through property. Property isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about building the life that you truly desire. In this space, we don't just talk strategy. We really deep dive into mindset, something I found has been missing in a lot of industries, but has been an absolute game changer in the professional property circles. Today's episode is all about something that goes far beyond financial goals. We're talking about leaving a legacy and how your property journey can actually be a force for lasting good and an impact beyond our own lives. So let's turn dreams into actions and actions into success. So what does this mean then? Leaving a legacy, creating lasting impact. Most of us, when we start our property journey, and certainly it was the same for me, I was just thinking cash flow. That was kind of it. How can I build something that obviously would last? And I had automatically presumed, I've got kids, so I'd automatically presumed that I would leave the properties to them, although I didn't want to make it too easy for them. But this was introduced to me, this legacy on a grander scale, something even bigger than a legacy for your kids, for your family. And it really helps you to look at what you're doing in quite a different way, actually. So bear with me, stick with this journey, but start thinking, how can your property journey actually shape the future? And I think it's all about redefining that success. So actually, success is absolutely about financial gains. And I am a huge advocate of filling your own cup up first. Once your own cup is metaphorically overflowing, then go and help others. So yeah, I'm really very much into making sure you're secure, making sure you got your cash flow, and making sure that is working for you, your family, your situation. But actually as well, it's about how what you do can have an impact. Now, obviously, impact, gosh, that could be a host of things for so many different people. But whatever it is for you, that's what you need to consider. And true wealth is measured by what you contribute, not just what you accumulate. And if you look at some people that you really admire, who you think, oh, they've made it big, and see what they do over and above and how they contribute perhaps to their society, to people around them, to inventing things. I mean, that's pretty clever, isn't it? How things can really change and impact your lives. For me, I think one of the biggest impacts I had was the smartphone. Especially when I had young kids, it used to take a long time to turn on your laptop and it to load up and then your emails to come in, and suddenly to have a phone that you could just literally have a quick look, not many emails, just deal with that one, all done. Massive impact on my personal life. So I'm not asking you necessarily to invent the iPhone, but it's just starting to think about how we can really change something in our surroundings. So true wealth, again, is measured by what you contribute, not just what you accumulate. So your legacy is built through the actions that you take today. No pressure. But that's absolutely it. We sometimes think, oh, I'm halfway through the year, or I'm nearly at the end of the year and I've done this, this, and this. But literally everything we do on a daily basis will contribute to the future, to where we're going. And if we start considering purpose over profit and using wealth as a tool, but actually not as the ultimate goal, we can start thinking in quite a different way. And it can actually help change the path of where you're going. When you start to think bigger, when you start to think, well, actually, how can I really help others in some way, shape, or form? True success comes from using your property business as a force for good. And you hear people talk about purpose-driven investing. And I don't think I really got it when I first heard that, because I would hear about people, perhaps going into supported living or perhaps creating real, a property, which is basically a product that you are so proud of, but it really answers the need of your client, of your tenant, and going over and above to create something really special. And I have to say, I feel so rewarded, proud, and huge gratitude of being able to have produced multiple properties that answer the needs really well, to whether it's my guests or my tenants. And in fact, yesterday I just saw a tenant. He'd moved in, I think, only 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I saw him and we actually hadn't met. So I introduced myself and immediately, is everything okay? And he had this just huge smile on his face. And he said, absolutely, I love this place. It's really amazing. Wow, look at that. So that's something that in a small way, I've been able to impact somebody's life and give them a fantastic place to live. And that is just so immense. So purpose-driven investing inherently leads to greater fulfillment in some way or another. And that's really up to us to consider these things and to start to think deeply about how we would like to do something purpose-driven, how we would like to perhaps make a change, do something for the better, impact people's lives. And as one of my favorite people, Bob Proctor, one of his fabulous quotes is, success is not measured by how much you accumulate, but how much you give. So success is not measured by how much you accumulate, but by how much you give. Think about that for a minute. And certainly I know Bob Proctor was a massive fan of giving massive tips, being so generous with your time, being somebody that people want to be around. How much can we give to help and to move beyond where we are today? So our vision needs to be beyond where we are today. So obviously, as I said, I don't know if anyone else was the same, but when I started out, it was cash flow. It was, literally starting out. And thinking beyond that was almost too much for me, because I was just trying to believe in myself, believe that it could be done. But as time goes on, and also as you have perhaps time to consider what you love, what you enjoy. I absolutely love business, but also I really obviously love my family, but I love health, well-being. I love the nature that is around me. So I'm very fortunate. I wake up, I've got incredible views. I'm in the middle of the countryside. And I want to make an impact on my small bit of world, because I feel that that could make an impact on the world beyond. So legacy really does require this long-term thinking. What is it that I want to see changed in the future? And a lot of us, that can be pretty overwhelming, can't it? What's a little old me? What can little old me do? But actually, if each of us consider how we can change our small segment, it has ripple effects going out. So obviously short-term wins are really, really key. Very, very important. I don't just want you sitting there daydreaming. But sustainable impact really matters more. So where are you at where would you be looking? Are you thinking next month? Are you thinking 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or even 50 years? So I know there was, my business partner put out a post the other day saying that we were halfway to 2050. And that kind of mind boggled me because I'm 50 now. And in 50 years' time, I'm going to be 100. Oh my gosh. How far can we think ahead? Where are you when you're thinking about that? But one thing that is really key, that we are responsible for our legacy. So with that, success brings responsibility to your family, to your community, to the next generation. And wealth alone cannot create that impact. It has to have intentional action, intentional will. So think about being actually proactive in shaping the legacy that you want to leave. So when we're talking about contribution over accumulation, the most successful people are those who give back. And actually, I would say the most happiest people are the ones that give back. And this is something that I really noticed, something so simple as having an impact on somebody that you meet, whether it's somebody serving you at a shop, whether it's a waiter, whether it's your husband, your wife, whatever. If you can leave somebody with an impression of increase, you will feel incredible as well. So I love smiling at people. It's a small thing that I know I can do each day easily. And sometimes the smile back can be so incredible and so rewarding. And I like to think that that small action of quite a few muscles in your face, I understand, actually can have an enormous impact on somebody. It makes me feel a bit choked up. You know, somebody could be having the worst day and that smile could change their lives. And that is a tiny thing to do, isn't it? So imagine somebody who's hugely successful, who is able to give back in some way, shape, or form. And you might be thinking, oh, I don't think I'm there yet. Maybe I can't do it. Or maybe you are there. You're just not sure what to do. So impact contributions can be anything from, you know, mentoring somebody. It might be mentoring the kid next door. It might be like I do. I love mentoring property investors. I love seeing these changes in mindset from, oh, I'm not sure what I can do, to being really successful in what they do. It might be community support. I don't know. Doing something around sport, the brownies, so many things. It might be a charitable project. And again, it might be within your property business. It might be, I've got lovely people who do huge things around supported living. And again, they're doing it as a business. They get massive financial rewards, but equally, they feel fantastic when they are doing their projects. So leaving a legacy is about empowering others, not just securing wealth. And I have a quote from Pablo Picasso. This is a deep one. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Wow, that's huge. I'm going to read it again. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. So what can we do to build this abundance mindset? And it really is about the more you give, actually, the more you receive. Now, don't think that you might give something to John and John's going to give it back. It doesn't work like that. It's just more you give out, the more it will come back. And if you only think that John's going to give it back, you're going to be really disappointed. You have to be open to receiving as well as giving. And hoarding wealth really limits that impact. You know, you've got to circulate, you've got to give that wealth to create more opportunities. And that's where you see really wealthy people, for instance, with big estates, they have to hire lots and lots of people to do that. If you imagine when you first start out, when I first started out in my business, it was just me. My family would help a little bit. And then slowly I built a team. And that has enabled me to help others. You know, I've seen my VAs. I've got VAs in the Philippines, and I've seen their lives changing from working with me. I've seen people in the UK beginning their businesses, for instance, cleaning businesses, and then absolutely exploding into these hugely successful businesses. And I've been part of that. I've been able to grow and help them. I think an abundance mindset really helps you to see endless possibilities for growth. Nothing should hold you back. But one of the key things, and we have spoken about this before, and I'll put a link in the show note back to the podcast about expanding your self-image. You've really got to have a self-image that you imagine. So, for instance, to leave a legacy, you must see yourself as a leader, as a change maker. If you see yourself just as the supporting act, we're not going to make those changes. And self-image changes the way you show up in the world, how you walk through the door, how you feel at the networking event, how you talk to your investors, how you feel about your tenants, about your guests. And personal growth is absolutely essential to making a lasting impact. So how can we apply this to our property investing? As we know, property is more than just a wealth building tool. It actually is an incredible vehicle for impact. Your investments can improve communities, provide lasting value, change the face of a community. If you take a rotten old building and make it beautiful. I remember when I got a hotel and we were deciding what to paint the outside. And we painted it. It's in a coastal town beside the sea. And we decided to paint it this really beautiful, impactful, dark blue color. And people now say to us, oh, it's the blue building, isn't it? And on that road, it was quite a lot of rundown buildings. And now they are slowly, we've kind of led the way. They're now feeling that, you know, people want to make their buildings look like ours. They don't have to paint it blue, though. So you can have an impact, just a small impact for your building can change a community. And that is incredible and add lasting value to that community. So do remember that this kind of thinking of legacy-driven investing will build networks and it will build opportunities beyond us. So what steps can we take? This is quite deep. I'm with you here. But try and identify one way that you can contribute beyond financial success. And take some time to think about it. Write it down. Think about, what do I love? What am I really passionate about? What would I like to see a change? And define a long-term legacy goal for your property journey. Think bigger than yourself. Think bigger than now. Remember, the actions that we take today, though, do affect your legacy in the future. And of course, take steps to get there. So our true legacy is the impact you make on others. So let's start shaping that today. Let's start doing it. And Albert Pine said, what we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal. Oh, that sends shivers down my spine. What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and the world remains and is immortal. Incredible. So what are you going to do today to start thinking about your legacy and how you can impact the world, even if it's in just a small way, and a smile, and how that can change somebody's life. Or maybe a room for a tenant, or a hotel for a weekend away, or an entire street. Have a think about it. Because do remember that property isn't just about what you do. It's also about how you think. And when you combine a strong strategy with an unstoppable mindset, there's literally no limit to what you can achieve. So do reflect today on today's episode and consider, what action are you going to take right now? What are you going to do today, this week, to move closer to your property goal? And of course, if you know someone who's struggling on their property journey, do share this episode. It could be the game changer that they need. Remember, the more people that we help, and we've talked about this today, haven't we? The greater our own wealth. It's so rewarding to do that in every sense of the word. So growing this community means growing the potential that we all have to succeed together. And do remember, your mindset is your greatest property. Keep building it.